Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I do hope everyone is doing well today, and do I have a subscriber interview to share with you. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go, and yes, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's upload, shall we? All right, everyone. Today I have a subscriber interview, and I have Kitty with us. Kitty, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, and thank you for reaching out to me. I had seen you in the comment section. You had said that you had an encounter, and I said, hey, email me, and you did, and you've had a couple of different experiences, and we talked a little bit about them. One I'm pretty amazed by. Well, all of them I am. But one really kind of just blew me away because it reminded me of another experience that I had heard. So I'm going to turn the mic over to you so you can share where your experiences kind of started and what transpired throughout the years.
Okay. Do I start now?
Yep.
All right. So my first encounter, I was completely ignorant to anything really cryptid related. The existence of anything really supernatural. So I thought that I was seeing a jet black wolf with amber eyes, but prior to seeing it, even a day prior, I had smelled like really strong scent of like doggy pee, and
Yeah.
I was mad because I thought we had just put in new grass in the lawn, and I'm thinking one of the neighbors was sick of their dog ruining their grass, so therefore sent it over to had it whiz in our yard. Baptized the whole thing is what it smelled like. I mean, really, it was almost like a nauseating strong scent.
Right.
And I didn't remember that detail until I was listening to, people on your show and on DW's show. It doesn't register to you.
Right.
You don't know what you know until you know. And all these weird synchronicities somehow line up, and it strikes a mental chord, and you're like, holy shit, that was part of that. I thought that was insignificant, which is why I didn't remember it at first.
Right.
I remembered the wolf, but why the hell would I remember the smell of dog pee? How is that significant? Why would I remember that? I wouldn't. Nobody would.
Right.
But I was outside at nighttime, and prior to this, I had the willies, basically, where I feel like I need to shut the blinds tight, make sure the windows are shut and locked, make sure the curtains are drawn in a way that people can't, I just had a feeling like maybe some creepy neighbor was going to try peeking in on my clients, because I do home health care. I don't know why I had this feeling, but I was just really going around the house checking and double checking. And then fast forward to the second time I'm smelling that smell. I'm outside with an individual that I work with because they get scared at night. And this individual, by the way, is scared of dogs, even little chihuahuas. So the second I said, at first I had thought it was the neighbor's big floppy dog that lives kitty corner across the golf course. And I'm like, calling to it, and it's like almost huffs and then just keeps going. And I'm like, well, that's not how he acts. And then I realize it's a wolf. And I go, oh my God, it's a wolf. And I can't really defend myself on this one because logic completely left me. And I started baby talking the wolf to see because wolves aren't supposed to be this far south in Minnesota. And I'm thinking, wow, this is a special kind of a magical, almost Disney moment.
Right.
I can't explain my lack of logic and reasoning, but I'm like, and it was still trying to ignore me. So against everything that I know, I freaking whistle. That's when it stops in its tracks and it looks at me, and I get that the shot of the lights from the security lights in the backyard reflect off of its eyes, and I see that pop of amber. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think that was gonna work. And I'm like, oh shit. And like I look beside me, and my client has already yeeted himself in the house so quickly. There must have been smoke coming out of his feet because I didn't even hear or see him flee the scene. I didn't realize I was standing there alone. I never would have called a wolf over to try to pet it. Well, I mean, I never should have done that in the first place. Hindsight, stupid. Really stupid. Yeah. Even if it was just a regular old wolf, I'm a human with no natural defenses. Yeah. These things aren't going through your mind when you've got Disney brain and you're seeing this majestic creature.
Could you tell that it was bigger than like a normal wolf as you were seeing it?
It was big. The reason that I thought it was a neighbor's dog, because they had this big, shaggy, I want to say it was like a big, shaggy, like dark brown with longer fur kind of a dog. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was a sheepdog. I don't know. I don't know well-to-do people dog brands, but I know that they get they've got like Irish Wolfhounds. They've got, Airedales that wealthy people, like wealthy people dogs, they like the weird exotic dogs, right? Why not? They're rich. What do they care? But anyway, I would play with that dog and pet him. I had just become friends with him. And that's why I had first thought what I was seeing, I'm like, well, how did he end up all the way to the left? Like, they must have really not been paying attention, or he must have got out the door or something and they're not paying attention, because usually he would stay pretty close to their yard. And this thing, it was bigger. But at first, it could have been around his size. But then when it got closer, like gauging the tree that it was next to, I want to say like somewhere between 5, not as tall as me, but I mean big enough that if it had been just a normal run-of-the-mill wolf and decided I was dinner, there's not a lot that I could have done right. to defend myself. So, when it looked at me after I whistled and it started coming to me, I'm like, oh man, it's going to eat me. This was a bad decision. Abort mission. And like I hightailed it into the garage. Which wasn't close, by the way. I mean, I'm all the way at the edge of the property, past the smoking area. Like, it was probably 10 to 12 feet. I had to, like, long sprint to get to what I thought was safety because, well, had this, I mean, okay, I didn't know anything about Dogman, so I'm thinking this is a wolf, but I did have the feeling of, this doesn't mean I'm safe once I got behind the garage door. And then I shook that feeling off because I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. It's just a wolf. Of course I'm safe. They can't open doors. That's ridiculous. Right. But again, once I got inside, I'm checking the blinds. I'm closing the curtains, hyper vigilant, feeling like somebody's looking in through the windows. Mm-hmm. Looking back, I feel bad because what I basically did was, hey, let's be friends, and ran away from it like it was this terrifying thing. Like, that must have been insulting. Can you imagine if you were in their shoes, if you were in their paws, role reversal, right? And you're like, you're kind of annoying, but I guess, okay, we could chat, and then start to go walk towards the person that's summoning you, and they run away in terror.
Yeah.
Imagine being the one that just got ghosted, the one that just got treated like a monster. Now I feel like a jerk. But yeah, that was my first encounter, and I didn't know that it was until I stumbled across you in Dark Waters.
Right. And during that time, like you had said, that you had that feeling of being watched prior to you even seeing this before, like a day before, and you had smelled the dog urine, like the foul putrid smell, even before he was around. And then the next day, there it is. And that feeling comes right back to you, and the urine smell.
I think he was around, but being cautious. Like, in other words, if they are able to cloak,
right,
he was there.
Yeah.
He just wasn't about to let my fragile little human monkey brain see it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's probably, I blame that as the reason why they will let me smell their scent. Every now and then I'll hear click clacks behind me when I'm walking to my car, to the point where it's like on my heels, to the point where I get irritated, like something's trying to punk me. And I turn around like, stop it. And nothing's there. No, I said knock it off. I turn to whip around and go, knock it off. And nothing's there, and I just look like a psycho if any of the neighbors were looking out the window. There's literally a cop across the street, great. He probably thinks that I'm just a neighborhood crazy cat lady, so that's probably what he chalks it up to. But
so then your second experience was how long after this one?
So my second one, I mean, years later, I want to say, because it didn't happen until I had switched assignment to a different house, different individuals, different part of town. I started having experiences with what I'm just going to call orbs, because I can't tell you what I'm looking at as a UFO, but I know that drones, commercially available drones, even the most fancy high altitude ones, only fly for a grand total of 30 minutes before they force land.
Right.
So when I am interacting with this thing and it's moving in ways that stars ain't moving, right? It is doing things I know stars are going to do. Maybe a drone could, but it's up there for 3 hours doing so. You know, that's significant, you know.
Yeah.
Anywho, so I had been interacting with the Orbs, we'll call them, and I'm like, I felt like there was some kind of message they were trying to relay that I just wasn't getting because I suck as a telepathic psychic hippie guru dipshit whatever the hell zippity doo dah. I'm bad at that stuff. So anyways, I'm feeling like a failure. I'm out there in my feelings like, I need you to literally come down here and spell it out. What do you need from me? What do you need me to do? I can't do this communication where you draw symbols that I don't understand. Like, what is that? Is that Egyptian? Is that ancient Sumerian? I am neither. I don't have memories of either. So you're going to have to just come down here and do the groundwork with me and spell it out. And soon after, I had said, like, what do you want from me? What do you expect? You need to show me. They released a smaller green, like it had like green radium glitter, powdery coating around the whole thing. And at first it was so slight that I wasn't sure if what I was seeing was just, at nighttime, your eyes can play tricks on you, and sometimes you get fuzzies in front of your eyes, you know? I was trying to make sure that that's not what it was, so I just did a light little wipe of my eyes, and I'm like, holy crap, it's still there. And I start saying, okay, come towards me, come here, come this way. And it did. It was obliging. And then one of the townies was trying to avoid, that night they try to avoid, you know, there's the bars closed, and to avoid getting a DUI, the farmers will cut through my neighborhood right. on their way out to their farm because they're white girl wasted, 3 sheets, the wind shouldn't be driving. They cut through. Anyways, their brights and their loud truck distract me momentarily. I look away. The craft starts going away from me. And I'm like, no, wait, please don't leave. I'm like, I need you to tell me. Like, you're not off the hook. So it comes forward a bit over this group of trees. It's just this random standout group of trees in the midst of farmland. And I looked it up. It's not protected land. It's not, maybe they have it there to shield the crops from straight line winds. But right. Then again, it's not like a line of trees that is shaped in a way that would do that. So I don't know why that patch of trees is there, but anyway, the closer the craft gets to it, I start to hear, mind you, I still don't know dogmen exist. I know wolves exist, but I start hearing what I think is dogs barking and howling, which is what Dogman's howl sounds like when they first kick off that, you know, that it sounds like a wolf started to howl and somebody with a steel toe boot came up and just squished their tail mid howl. Yeah, you know, like, I mean, that's what their howl sounds. I mean, I'm not trying to insult, but to a stupid human, that's what it sounds like. I didn't know what I was hearing. I thought it like some dogs are barking, some dogs are howling. I'm not realizing that might be one canine making that noise at first. Then the sound grows. It grows and grows until it's all around me. There's many of them. And then they match their tone. They sync up and it becomes like this beautiful, eerie howl in unison, like a telepathically linked howl. Now that I'm thinking about, of course, now I think about that, but then I thought, I couldn't put my finger on why that bothered me, that they were like a perfectly matched tone and pitch. Although I used to be a singer, so like I do, like, you know, like something about that bugged me, like how they were able to perfectly match, perfect, no deviation. And I'm surrounded, not just in the patch of trees. They're all around me. And other people in town heard the howls, thought it was wolves, don't know any better, and I'm not going to tell them different because I'm not about to pee in their Cheerios and disrupt their whole reality.
Right.
I'm not going to be the one to do that. I'll let them do that on their own. But anywho, and then another person in town, come to find out, saw the green craft. And I'm like, did they hear the howling? And she's like, well, they didn't mention howling. I'm like, how would they? Listen, if they saw that craft, they had to have heard that. You could not just not hear that. It was like literally not only to hear it, I felt it vibrating in my chest.
Right.
Like, and mind you, I'm thinking it's wolves when it's happened. I'm like, wow, like it's eerie. I don't know why it's giving me the willies or like feeling a little something's off other than there being a UFO. Like other than I'm thinking, okay, canines, there's wolves. I know there's not supposed to be wolves. Everybody that's an expert on wolves said there's no wolves this far south in Minnesota. You might find one rogue one, but you're not going to find a whole pack like what I heard. And what another girl in town, come to find out, has heard a pack synchronizing.
Yeah.
There's coyotes, but sightings of the coyotes are rare, and to hear them, it's even more rare.
Before they kind of synchronized together, you'd said when they were like synchronized, you could feel it through your body. But prior to that, when they were just individually howling, could you feel it, or was it right when they got synchronized?
Originally, it was eerie. Like it gave me like I'm sure I was more focused on the anomaly happening in front of me. I'm sure I did have goosebumps, like out of excitement, out of disbelief. You know, I remember feeling like this eerie feeling, like because the sound grew. It sounded like dogs barking while howling was happening. Maybe some of them were yiping and yapping, but that's what Dogman's howl sounds like. I didn't know that until, thanks to you and Dark Waters, now I know that. But at the time, I'm thinking I'm just hearing everyone's dogs freaking out because, they're known to do that in the presence of a UFO. They freak out. Something about the frequency, I think, hurts their doggy ears. It's something us humans can't really hear until it's literally right on top of us.
Yeah.
Now, contactees will talk about as sounding like a top or sounding like whirring, a whir, kind of a noise.
Right.
For me, it was a womp, 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 womp. And it was like another instance where it's a vibration, you feel it in your chest. And the closer they get, something about them coming into your environment, it becomes hot, like unbearably hot, like you're about to break out in a sweat or burst into flame. You're not sure which one first, but it's intense. Anywho, I'm not sure how those two are connected, but it's gotta be because, a lot of people are out in the forest preserve or there's, somewhere out in a woodsy area, hiking, doing nature stuff, oblivious to the wonder of the universe, right?
Right.
The first thing, they're seeing some UFO, and then they have a run-in with Dogman. Or if they see a UFO, they have a run-in with, why do I want to...
Bigfoot?
Huh?
Bigfoot.
With Bigfoot, yeah. I almost said Harry. So,
from the old Hendersons?
They have, yeah, Harry and the Hendersons. If only they were that nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess he wasn't nice because he kind of wrecked their house, but...
Now, you had told me, I don't mean to step out of synchronicity or whatever of your experiences, but you had told me about an experience, and I don't know if this was before your first experience, while you were in the backyard there, or what, but you had seen You believe you had pet a Dogman because you had brought up
Yes, this is long.
Rascal.
This is years before. Like, I was in the prime of my life, man. You know, I was like 22, bubble-headed blonde, bleach blonde, fake blonde. But, um, no. Anywho, I am visiting a friend at the time in Anoka at these apartments, and I'm terrible. Whenever I see a dog, I always acknowledge the dog and forget the owner exists. I don't know if that's a ADHD specific trait, but I have hurt people's feelings, like literally saying hi to their dog, how's your day, oh, you're beautiful, and not even acknowledging the owner before I walk away. I don't know why and it's embarrassing. I don't mean to do that, but like when you're ADHD, if something's not right in front of you or it's not the thing you're hyper focused on, it's like everything else outside of what you're hyper focused on does not exist. Right. It doesn't exist. Just poof, it's gone. And since I'm hyper fixating on a beautiful fur baby, everything around it is just a big gray blur. Big insignificant gray blur. So embarrassingly of a trait as that is, it is what it is. Anywho, I'm walking and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what kind of a dog is that? And he like hesitantly was like, oh, I think at first he had said it's a Husky German Shepherd hybrid or just Husky German Shepherd Wolf mix. And I'm like, you know, as I'm talking to him and kind of like buttering him up a bit, he comes to admit that the whole hybrid thing is bullshit. Like basically he's like, I tell people that it's, you know, this part German Shepherd, part, you know, because that way I can have him here at the apartments. If they knew that he was a special wolf mixture with no domestic dog in him, they wouldn't let me have him here. They might have him put down, or they might take him from me. And I'm like, oh, and I just take everything he says at face value because I don't know any different. I don't know these things exist. I don't understand why this dog is almost as tall as me sitting down. Why its amber eyes are so intoxicatingly beautiful. It's like, but the intelligence behind the gaze is what's so striking. And I think the fact that the amber red tinge, and, you know, humans were, like I said, humans were taught that red means caution, danger, and it's just ingrained into us. So I think, you know, anything with red, it's evil, you should avoid, danger, nice. Halt, like, but that's just ingrained in us to the point where we might be limiting ourselves on a otherwise beautiful experience. I'm not encouraging anyone to go out there and become Dogman kibble, don't get me wrong, but I'm also not saying that they will become Dogman. I'm saying I don't know. Right. And I'm saying, don't follow me, I run into walls. But well, here's what happened. I didn't ask the owner for permission. I look at the wolf, what I think is a wolf, and I'm like, is it okay if I pet you, baby? Again, not acknowledging that the owner exists, because I'm terrible about that. Still to this day. Embarrassing. But the dog nods. It gives me a nod, and I'm like, oh, see, oh, you do. And so before the guy, and he's like about to say no, he's in the process of trying to say, and before he can say shit, me and puppy dog are nuzzling each other at the neck. He's like kind of doing like you know how like Rottweilers have that Rottie purr? Yeah. It sounds like a growl to someone who didn't grow up with Rottweilers, but if you grow up with Rotties, you know that Rottie rattle, that Rottie purr. It's like that, but like wolf style. I just can't help but to wonder if some of these people might have mistaken a purr for a F off growl. I mean, I wouldn't chance it.
Right.
Definitely avoid eye contact. Be like, hey, I respect you. I don't want any trouble. I would like to stay alive. Thank you.
So pretty much you were
but if
thinking,
you want to snuggle, I'm cool with that too.
right. So pretty much you think that possibly could have been a Dogman pup.
Well,
Like
his reaction
yeah.
was very telling because like us becoming the best of friends before he can even tell me no to touching his woof, and he goes okay,
Right.
because he's like, I wasn't gonna give you permission. He's like, and just so, he kind of like almost started like rolling his neck, like, and just so you know, I wasn't gonna give you permission to touch my dog because he's not good with strangers.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, geez, I guess, I mean, I'll go fuck myself now. Thanks. Damn. Sorry, guy. Like, whoops.
Right. And you had
I'm
mentioned
ADHD.
something about his...
I don't do anything half butt. I'm balls to the walls all the way.
Right. And you had mentioned something about his feet being different than regular paws.
His feet look deformed. And I had mentioned, like, wow, like his paws are really big. They look different. And like, that's when he really started like circling back to he's a special crossbreed of like different types of wolves. Maybe
crazy.
he was some kind of a wolf Dogman crossbreed. Maybe that whole sentence he said was bullshit.
Right.
I'll never know.
Right.
I do know that after that interaction, I was really sad that he didn't have him outside anymore. Like, that guy was really pissed. I don't know if that was jealousy. Like, he thought, oh, like, me and Wolfie here have a special bond, and he'll never bond with anybody else. And I just pissed in his Cheerios by not even asking permission. I asked Wolfie's permission. I didn't even acknowledge the fella standing next to Wolfie. But as far as I was concerned, it was just me and Wolfie.
Right.
It's us two in the conversation. There isn't anybody else.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I don't advise anyone to do that because that could have went very poorly.
Yeah, absolutely. So after your second experience, what happened after that? Or you were still in Minnesota?
So I'm working at my current assignment, and every now and then I do notice that, for lack of a better way it smells like stale dog piss that's been baking in the sun all day. It's foul.
Right.
Like, your first thing, like, when you smell it is look around to see what dog was just pissing on your porch. Like, he was up on the porch. I didn't hear him. Maybe I did. Maybe that's the sound that I keep hearing, like somebody walking on the porch or walking on, like a clink clank on the wood.
Yeah.
But then I look and nada, so.
Yeah, you hear clinking a lot. You said, like, when you're outside and stuff like that, like a
well,
dog
I hear
pop.
that's a whole separate thing. I mean, I'm hearing like somebody's walking around, and I'm thinking, like, again, I'm like, my first thing is to always blame the human. So, like, which creepy neighbor is trying to peep in the back windows off the porch? Like, I'm like, whose ass am I kicking? Who wants some? You want some? Like, but now, yes, I went to walk to my car. I had been having some, I don't want to say their name because I don't, crawlers, stinky creepy crawlers. I was having some issues with them.
Right.
But then, so I heard like what I thought was a turkey call, like, and my stupid ass, thinking it's one of the neighbors messing with me or one of their kids, I mimic it, which is what they're trying to get you to do because they're just calling out to see who's out there.
Yeah. They're
looking for dinner. It's business. It's not personal. But they're still stinky, smelly, creepy bastards. But anyway, I heard what sounded like something running towards me, and then I heard like a slit throat, kind of that like, I can't even mimic it. It's the most disgusting,
like a gurgle,
terrifying thing to hear right behind you.
Yeah.
And I was terrified momentarily, and I can't explain why, but even when my initial reaction is fear, rage follows immediately as just a trigger reaction. Like, I get pissed that someone just made me into a bitch. Just for a split second, I'd whip around in rage, and I'm like, I fucking wouldn't. And like, I'm talking to myself. Once again, there's nobody behind me. And I'm like, oh God, I hope neighbors aren't looking out the window. This is embarrassing. Like, and then the next night, you know, I was starting to smell that doggy Chanel No. 5 kind of a smell. And I'm watching your content in Dark Waters. I'm talking about Dogman quite a bit to people I know. And on my way walking from the house I work at to my car, which is maybe 10 to 15 feet for where I parked, because I parked on the street. As soon as I get onto the street part of the street, because I parked on the street, there is no sidewalk. I'm walking on the street to my car, and I hear dog paw click-clacks behind me. And once again, I'm getting... At first, I'm like, it freaks me out, but then I get mad because I feel like I'm getting punked. You know, I feel like someone or something is messing with me or having entertainment at my expense, and I turn around and I'm like, knock it off. And there's nothing there. Right. I'm like, oh man, these neighbors definitely think I'm crazy now, you know.
Yeah.
There goes getting invites to the barbecue. But so fast forward maybe 2 to 3 weeks later, that's when I see a black wolf-shaped literal blur go across the... I'm driving home. It's about 10:20 p.m. And right across the street from the hospital is where it started. It ends, like, there's a field next to the hospital, and there's nowhere to hide. There's nothing there. I mean, my car gets up to it a couple seconds later, and I'm looking because I'm nosy.
Right.
I don't see anything there. Nothing. And I even roll my windows down. I'm like, because now I'm a detective, right? Because now I know everything about cryptids. I'm like, you know. No smell, but I know I need to get a dash cam, because I know it looked like all of these how these people have, like, look at, it's got to be a dog man because it's a blur. And then you'll have some asshole in the comments that's like, what'd you fill me with a potato for then, huh? Like, but what these assholes don't understand is the camera caught everything that was visible to the human spectrum. Mm-hmm. You would see the same thing had your eyeballs been there in person, looking in the same direction as the camera. That's what it looks like. A freaking blur. Right. I saw it. And you know what? I hate to admit it, but I was kind of one of those assholes. That was one of the potato comment people before I saw it. The synchronicities and the amount of humbling I've had just in the past year is overwhelming.
Right. Yeah. And you know, we had talked, and you have the feeling that, and it kind of does add a lot of I guess some concrete to this, is that you didn't see it the first time, or when you smelled the smell, You had the feeling
I
of
didn't see it,
right,
but
and
I just had this feeling like I went back and I had this feeling like maybe the neighbors were watching me, like the
Right.
nosy neighbors. I'm like, I don't know what's giving me the heebie-jeebies, but you know what? I'm done vaping. Screw it. I'm gonna go in and clean the house.
Right.
But like I get in the house and it doesn't feel safe enough. I need to check the blinds, check the curtains, so that no pervert can peek in and get in my client's business, because that's for some reason a concern when it's all rich people who literally are minding their own business.
Right.
It's not like some Jerry Springer kind of a neighborhood where everybody's in each other's butt. Like, these people all mind their own business. So why that was a concern, I mean, I should have been thinking about, why do I feel this way?
Yeah.
Because that's not a normal feeling for me. Prior to all of this paranormal stuff, I was the kind of chick, I was that nosy neighbor. Turn all the lights out in the house, open every single window, and just watch everybody else's business.
Right. No, but what
Not
I
with
was going
binoculars, but like sometimes you're just bored and you're sick of what's on TV.
right. But where I was going with that is, you had mentioned, you had the feeling, you had the smell, you didn't see anything, and then you, after your first experience, you see it, and then you start hearing the clicking and noises on the porch and stuff,
like the click clack,
right.
The click clack of dog nails, like that trot when a dog does like its little trot,
yep.
when it's on all fours.
Yep.
That the click clack of dog nails, yeah,
and then
like dog nails paws.
You see this blur, and that kind of adds a lot of credence, to them cloaking, the ability to cloak. We had talked about, you were like, okay, it could have either been here prior, or it was right there when I was out back and I smelled it and I got that feeling. And, then you see this shadow, or this cloaked whatever, fly across the road at a rapid speed that looks just like a black dog.
And mind you, at the time, I'm wishing to God that there was some kind of place to pull over so I can go investigate, like Scooby-Doo, But
right.
There's not really anywhere that I can pull over without being a nuisance and getting a ticket. So
right.
I just have to go about my way and mind my own damn business. Damn.
Yeah.
This always kind of happens. It usually happens at a time that's really inconvenient to go, investigate.
That you just have no. Yep, I understand completely. So you really, you've got some amazing experiences, and I really do think that that there's that one, or if not, it all seems like it's within the same kind of radius. I'm
wondering too, like I said, the scent, which everybody smells that scent, it's a little different for everybody depending on whether they've eaten recently, because they don't sound like they're the neatest of eaters. They're just kind of sloppy. I think of Beast when Belle's trying to house train him. Right. When he's with the soup, he's like but that's what I think of when I think of them eating, getting it all over their face, all over their chest, all over their fur. Anyway, I'm wondering though how much of that is actually a scent that's on them versus a telepathic identifier, because UFO contactees often talk about experiencing a scent of either a floral scent, like a really strong floral scent coming out of nowhere, burnt caramel. I experienced something it was similar to burnt caramel, but I was thinking more of an aromatherapy type of baby lotion that you would put on a baby when you're trying to soothe them and get them ready for bedtime. And my first thought was, oh my God, I'm smelling an alien baby. But that's what it made me think of. That's what my brain associated that with, baby lotion.
Right.
And there's nothing around me where I would have been getting wafted those scents from. It's just these ghost scents.
Yeah, it's weird. Like you said, normally,
with migraines with aura, you're going to get nasty, which I have had, by the way. You'll get nasty scent like burnt rubber or rotting meat, or both. I've had both. Though that, when there's a migraine with aura, you're going to get gross. It's going to be a really gross scent. It's not, but then again, I guess, dog urine's not a terribly desirable thing but I've never heard that as a symptom of migraine with aura. So,
Okay.
but, maybe don't rule anything out,
Absolutely.
but,
yeah, nothing can be ruled out. And, like you said, when we were talking privately, it's the puzzle pieces, are fit together, and then some don't, and it's one big puzzle, and we've got to figure it out eventually. But I really enjoyed the just the way when we had talked, right, because I was thinking about two things when you had shared your experiences with me before the interview. That possibly it was cloaking and it was right there with you, and that's why you got that such a powerful feeling of being watched, and like you said,
I wonder
no
how much
peepers.
of that might be them announcing themselves.
Right.
Like they can't telepathically talk to us the way they do to each other because there's a language barrier, and telepathic communication is really, really hard to get. I mean, not that I haven't so experienced, but I have had extraterrestrial interactions, and trying to mentally understand what something, whatever, is saying to you brain to brain, not orally. There can be miscommunication. So yeah. It's basically, it's a nonverbal form. It's a really cool nonverbal form of communication.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's crazy. I've had a blast talking with you this evening, and I especially, you've got a lot of insight on other things that have happened. Just take the Dogman experience out of the equation, and then with the other experiences that you've had, you start looking at, the experiences with the Dogman, like with the smell. Maybe it's announcing its presence and stuff like that.
Yeah, like it announces it with a feeling, a vibe, like, hey, here, I'm trying to announce to you that I feel, maybe we're making them feel unsafe, and they're just trying to push that through to us. Like, this is how you're making me feel.
Yeah. That's
like, I don't know if you're a hunter. I don't know if you're a jerk. Right. I feel unsafe. I'm feeling you out. Like, don't make any sudden moves. Don't look me in the eyes. We'll be good.
Right. Yeah. And that's something that people really don't think about, is how are we making them feel? We're always thinking of how we feel. So that's a pretty good insight. I'm
an animal person, so.
Right. Well, we're about ready on our interview. Is there anything that you'd like to end the upload with or say to the audience listening?
Just, be cautious, be alert. I would, like Dark Waters always tells people, don't go seeking them out. If it's meant to be, it'll be. Just keep the interaction easy peasy, slow movements. Don't do anything that could be misconstrued as challenging. Be smart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just be safe.
Spot on right there. Thank you for coming on and sharing your experiences. Don't hang up. I want to talk to you for a few minutes before we end the call, but I appreciate you coming on and taking some time out of your day to share with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, folks. I'd like to thank you all for supporting this channel. I do hope you enjoyed the interview with Kitty. Guys, it is your support that keeps this channel growing and going, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we all deserve. That is because of all of you, and I do appreciate that. Thank you. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.